I still remember the exact day my world collapsed. It was 2020, and I thought life was steady. I was 32, married to the woman I'd been with for 12 years, and we had a beautiful daughter together who was just 11 at the time. From the outside, we looked like any other family. We had our ups and downs, sure, but there were never any explosive fights, never any police at the house, never any moment that made me think our marriage was on the verge of crumbling. If you had asked me back then, I would have told you we were fine. Not perfect, but fine. Then came the day that would shatter everything I believed about love, trust, and family. I was at work, just another ordinary day, when my wife decided to vanish. No call, no text, no note on the counter saying she needed space or that something was wrong. Just gone. Imagine walking into your own home, the place where you thought your family would always be waiting, and realizing that your partner of over a decade had disappeared without even giving you the dignity of an explanation. That moment carved a hole in my chest that I can't even begin to describe. At first I was confused, shocked. My mind raced with questions. Was she okay? Did something happen? Was she hurt? But soon the truth began to unravel, and it was uglier than anything I could have imagined. She hadn't left because of me. She hadn't left because of some fight or argument. She left because she had been living a double life right under my nose. For 5 long years, she had been lying about money. She carried around $8,000 in debt, pretending it was taken care of, pretending our finances were in order when they weren't. She let the registrations on 3 of our cars lapse, each one piling up $10,000 in penalties. All the while she told me things were fine. She looked me in the eyes and told me bills were paid, debts were cleared, and everything was okay. But it wasn't. I think now, looking back, that she had a gambling problem. At the time, I didn't handle the finances. I trusted her, I believed in her, and that trust blinded me to the cracks forming beneath our feet. By the time I realized something was wrong, she was already gone. And as if the betrayal of her lies wasn't enough, she decided to twist the knife in the cruelest way possible. She didn't just leave. She didn't just run off to escape the truth. She told people that I had beaten her, that I had raped her. Imagine that for a second. Imagine giving 12 years of your life to someone, building a family together, raising a daughter together, and then having that person turn around and destroy your reputation with lies so poisonous they stain everything you've worked for. Those lies fractured my life. They fractured my relationship with my daughter. From that day forward, I wasn't just a husband who had been abandoned. I was a father, fighting to hold on to the most important bond in the world, while my ex worked day and night to tear it apart. And the worst part, nobody saw it coming. Not me. Not our friends, not even our daughter, who was left caught in the crossfire of a storm she never asked for. That day in 2020 was the day my marriage ended, but it was also the day I realized how dangerous lies can be. They don't just break trust, they break families, they break children, they break the very foundation of who you thought you were. And this was only the beginning. After the shock of my wife leaving sank in, the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. And what I discovered was worse than I could have ever prepared myself for. See, I had always trusted her with the finances. We brought in around $6,000 a month. Not rich, but comfortable enough to pay the bills, take care of our daughter, and keep 3 cars on the road. I worked, I provided, and I trusted her to manage the household. That trust was my biggest mistake. Behind my back, for years, she had been living a lie. She carried around $8,000 in debt that she swore up and down was already paid off. I had no reason not to believe her. I never saw the bills, never saw the statements. She looked me in the eye and told me everything was fine, and I believed her. But it wasn't fine. It hadn't been fine for years. She let the registrations on all 3 of our cars lapse. Each one ended up racking up $1,000 in penalties. I didn't find out until it was already too late, until I was staring at fines that should never have existed. When I confronted her after the fact, she had excuse after excuse, but the truth was clear. She hadn't been honest with me in a very long time. Looking back now, I think she had a gambling problem. It's the only thing that makes sense. Where else could the money have gone? How else could she keep up this pattern of lies, constantly digging a hole deeper and deeper while pretending we were standing on solid ground? She was hiding a life from me, one built on secrecy and deceit, while I worked every day thinking I was supporting my family. And just when I thought I'd uncovered the worst of it, another bombshell dropped. 1 month before she left me, she went behind my back and took out title loans on all 3 of our cars. 3 cars that were completely paid off, gone, just like that. She walked away with nearly $4,000 in cash. Cash she never mentioned, cash I never saw, cash that disappeared the moment she split. Imagine the level of planning that takes. She didn't leave me in the heat of the moment. She didn't walk out because of some sudden fight. She planned her escape down to the last penny, draining everything she could before vanishing. That realization hit me like a freight train. It wasn't just betrayal, it was calculated betrayal. And the part that eats at me the most, she did all of this while still pretending to be the woman I had married. She still smiled at me, still told me she loved me, still tucked our daughter in at night like nothing was wrong. All the while she was lining up her exit strategy, ready to leave me holding the wreckage of a life we built together. What hurt more than the money, more than the cars, more than the debt, was realizing she had never given me the chance to help her. If she had come to me and said she was drowning, I would have done everything in my power to pull her out. I would have worked extra hours, sold off what we had, cut corners anywhere we could. I would have stood by her side, because that's what marriage meant to me. But instead she chose lies. She chose to betray me. She chose to walk away without giving me a chance to fight for us. And as if draining me financially wasn't enough, she added insult to injury. She didn't just take the money, she took my name and dragged it through the mud with lies about abuse. She didn't just leave me broke, she left me branded as a monster in the eyes of people who didn't know the truth. By the time I realized what had happened, it was too late. The money was gone, the cars were tied up in loans, and my wife, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone, was gone too. But what I didn't know then was that this wasn't even the worst part. The money, the debt, the lies, they were painful, but they weren't permanent. The real pain was yet to come. Because the one thing she took from me that I could never get back wasn't cash, wasn't cars, wasn't even my reputation. It was my daughter. If losing my wife wasn't enough, what came next was a blow I never saw coming. She didn't just leave me. She didn't just take money, cars, and years of trust. She took my reputation, twisted it, and tried to destroy me with it. Not long after she disappeared, I found out what she had been telling people. She claimed I had beaten her. She claimed I had raped her. Let that sink in for a moment. After 12 years of marriage, after raising a daughter together, after sharing a home and a life, she walked away and painted me as a violent monster. There are no words for what that does to a person. I wasn't just hurt. I was humiliated, broken, and enraged all at the same time. I had never laid a hand on her, never hurt her in any way. But once those words were out there, the damage was done. People looked at me differently. Some didn't believe me when I said it wasn't true. Some kept their distance, whispering behind my back, as if I might snap at any moment. It's a stain that never really washes off. Even when the truth comes out, I fought back the only way I could. I took her to court. It was a brutal process. I had to sit there, in front of a judge, in front of lawyers, and listen to the woman I once called my wife spew lies about me with a straight face. She cried, she performed, she acted like the victim. And for a while I felt like the world believed her. But I held on to the truth. I had never done the things she claimed. I refused to let her lies define me. Slowly, painfully, I tore down every false story she had spun. Piece by piece, I proved my innocence. And eventually the judge saw through it. I beat her in court. I cleared my name legally. But the scars of those accusations, they don't fade so easily. While she was busy trying to destroy me, she also ran straight back to our home state. She got on welfare, got herself appointed a free lawyer through a battered women's alliance, and dug her heels in. She played the victim role to perfection, and while she had help and support, I was left scrambling to pick up the pieces of my life. But the worst part wasn't what she did to me, it was what she did to our daughter. She poisoned her mind against me. She whispered lies into her ears, convincing her that her own father was dangerous, untrustworthy, cruel. Slowly, the bond I had with my little girl began to crack under the weight of those lies. I tried everything. I called Child Protective Services. I showed them proof of her manipulations. I begged them to step in, to protect my daughter from the toxic poison her mother was feeding her. But CPS told me something that crushed me even further. We can't stop a mother from lying to her daughter. That was their answer. No help, no protection, just a shrug while my relationship with my child slipped through my fingers. It's been years since then, and the damage is still there. The little girl who used to run into my arms, who used to light up when I came home, now looks at me with doubt planted by her mother's lies. She was just 11 when it started. Now she's 12, already being pushed down a path she should never be on. She's had boyfriends at an age where she should be focused on school, friends, and being a kid. And her mother, she posts pictures of her online in skimpy clothes, flipping off the camera, turning her into someone she's not ready to be. I can't describe the pain of watching your child slip away from you, knowing it's not her fault, knowing it's the result of lies she was fed, lies designed to erase me from her life. Clearing my name in court didn't fix that. Beating the false accusations didn't restore the bond I lost. Winning on paper doesn't mean you win in real life. And that's the part people don't understand. You can prove yourself innocent 1,000 times, but once your child has been poisoned against you, the truth doesn't matter. The lie has already done its damage, and that's where I found myself, standing in the wreckage of a life I once thought was solid, fighting a battle I couldn't win, losing the one thing I loved more than anything, my daughter. When I look back now, the biggest mistake I ever made wasn't trusting her with money. It wasn't ignoring the warning signs of her debt. It wasn't even believing her when she told me things were fine. My biggest mistake was not filing for divorce the very moment she left. I gave her too much time. Time to twist the story. Time to destroy my reputation. Time to poison my daughter against me. And I regret that every single day. Since 2020, she's bounced from man to man, 4 different guys in just a few years. She has lived off welfare, manipulated her way into free legal help, and burned through every bridge she could cross. But somehow she still managed to hold on to the one thing that mattered most to me, my daughter. My little girl, the one who used to draw me pictures, the one who used to wait by the window for me to come home from work, is now a stranger to me. At just 12 years old, she's already had boyfriends. She's being paraded online by her mother, dressed in ways no child should be dressed, throwing up middle fingers like it's all just a game. And every time I see it, it feels like another knife in my chest. I've tried. God knows I've tried. I've called CPS more times than I can count. I've shown them proof of what's happening, proof of how my daughter is being dragged down a road that will only end in pain. But CPS has done nothing. They told me straight to my face, "We can't stop a mother from lying to her daughter." Imagine hearing that when you know those lies are tearing your child away from you. Imagine begging for help, only to be told there's nothing anyone can do. So I had to learn the hardest lesson of my life, how to live without her. And let me tell you, there is no pain like that. Losing a spouse hurts. Being lied about in court hurts. Watching your finances crumble hurts. But nothing, and I mean nothing, hurts like having to accept that your own child doesn't see you the way she used to. That the bond you built over years has been shattered by someone else's poison. I've cried, I've screamed, I've begged the universe to give me just one more chance, one more day with my daughter the way things used to be. But the truth is, I can't force her to see the truth right now. All I can do is wait. All I can do is hope that one day she'll look past the lies, see through the games, and remember the father I really was. In the meantime, I've had to rebuild myself from the ground up. I had to learn how to stand without her hand in mine, how to wake up in the morning without hearing her laughter in the house, how to survive in a world where the most important part of my life feels stolen. And that process nearly broke me. But here's what I've realized. Sometimes, the only way to survive is to let go of what you can't control. I can't control her mother. I can't control the lies. I can't control the broken system that refuses to protect fathers the way it should. What I can control is how I carry myself, how I fight for the truth, how I live my life so that when my daughter is old enough to see things for herself, she'll know exactly who I am. And to anyone listening to my story, here's what I want you to take away. Don't make the mistakes I made. Don't ignore red flags. Don't hand over full control of your life without paying attention. Don't wait to act when someone shows you who they really are, because waiting will cost you more than you can imagine. The hardest part of my life wasn't losing my wife, it was learning to live without my daughter. And that's a lesson I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So learn from me, learn from my pain, protect yourself, protect your kids, and never let lies blindside you the way they blindsided me. Because once the damage is done, sometimes all you can do is pick up the pieces and pray that one day the truth will be enough to bring your family back.